people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another match preview. As always, guys, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. Less than 80 subscribers from 8K now, so it's really important if you're new around here. Please do smash the subscribe button and let's get to that target as quickly as possible. And Chelsea, after a bit of a smash and grab at Selhurst Park on Monday night, making it back-to-back wins in all competitions, heading up to Man City, arguably the toughest task possible other than Anfield potentially, to take on the defending champions. It's second versus 10th. We don't have an amazing record there. We had a 4-4 earlier in the season at Stamford Bridge, but I'd be shocked if we had that same scoreline. Haaland's back in the mix again. KDB's back. Rodri doing the business. Phil Foden has stepped up again over the last few weeks. It's going to be a very, very tough ask. We don't know if Thiago Silva's going to be fit or not. Badia Shield's out. Most likely could be Levi Colwill coming in at the back. We've got good players. We've got quality, but if we're being brutally honest, even the most positive Chelsea fans, we'd be lucky to get anything out of this game. But to discuss the game, all things Chelsea in general, I'd like to be joined again by Nina. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Obviously, we've got a much-needed win on Monday night in the league after two heavy defeats against Liverpool and Wolves. We needed that. We've got a tough run of games coming up. We've got City, then obviously the cup final, Brentford away, Newcastle, Arsenal, etc., all coming up in the next sort of 4 or 5 game weeks in the Premier League. How are you feeling heading into this one? Yes, we've got 2 wins, but if we play anywhere near as bad in that first half as we against Palace, if we do that again against City, we're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, I don't really back us for this one at all, to be honest. And I didn't the first time round. And I do think that was very different, though, because we saw that Man City kind of went on a bit of a dip after that with a few draws, conceding City goals after that. And this is a very different side now. I think they are fully going to gear up. It's a time now where goal difference matters, points matter. They've got a game in hand. They're going to want to punish Chelsea for this one because there's so much more at stake. It's tighter at the top, less breathing room. So they're going to really want to capitalise on every single game from here on. Haaland looks scary. He's back in. KDB, we know what he's like. And I don't even think he's reached, he's not fully back to the fully fit KDB we know him to be. And he's already been so dangerous. GNA to his name, so intelligent, can cause so many problems for a Chelsea side that is still working things out, where you don't know what you're getting until the actual day, whether it be good first 45 minutes or vice versa. But unfortunately, nothing's sustainable to make you even think you've got a chance against Manchester City. They've been conceding some needless goals, so maybe opportunity strikes, we could score, but I don't think we win this game.
No, I mean, they do give up chances. Two teams do score against them. They keep obviously more clean sheets. They've got a better defensive record than us, but teams do get opportunities against them, and teams do tend to score maybe at least a goal in most weeks. But that doesn't really matter that much because the firepower at the other end is just so impressive. I mean, defensively, we've not been great. We don't keep many clean sheets. We are conceding most games in the Premier League. We've conceded 9 goals in our last 3 league matches, which is not great when you've got the likes of Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden, Doku, whoever it might be that's playing. Bernardo Silva, who's recovered from the ankle knock that he picked up in the Champions League game. These are all unbelievable footballers. We've got good quality, but as a team, we're nowhere near where Man City are. I mean, we're sort of mid-February now. I mean, where do you see this team at the moment in terms of Chelsea? Where do you think we are as a side? Because we're sitting 10th in the table. Yes, we're in a Carabao Cup final. And yes, we're in the last 16 of the FA Cup. We're 2 points off 7th in the league. But where do you think we are? Do you think there's been genuine progression from the start of the season? Or do you just still think things aren't really that different? Sometimes good, sometimes shit. And that's still the case.
Yeah, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Exactly right. No, not really, to be honest. I think it's been up and down. Like I said, I think Chelsea are unpredictable. I think if that's a playing style, then that's what we are. I mean, freestyle is what I like to call it recently, because it's a problem to not know what you expect from your squad and your players on the day. Some of them turn up, some of them don't, and you get that with the inexperience as well. A lot of players have individual moments in certain games, but rarely it's collective performances. Rarely it's like everyone has a good day, and again, that's not sustainable. So really, I would say there's very little progression in terms of what Pochettino has managed to implement. Yes, of course, course, he has had injuries. He's only just got his 2 fullbacks back, but he's got good depth now. He's got good players to pick from. There's a competition in these spots, and it'll be interesting to see who he kind of bigs up in the role against obviously Man City and who he chooses. But I wouldn't argue that Pochettino has really implemented any sustainable tactics that you see game in, game out. It's different every game.
Yeah, no, it is. It is frustrating. I mean, to be honest, in the last couple of games, like, he has actually shown what he's not shown for most of the season. Some willingness to change things up tactically in the game. We saw away at Villa. He went Jackson down the left-hand side. Caicedo and Enzo were the closest together they've been all season. We finally had 2 fullbacks, proper fullbacks, actually fit and available for the first time in God knows how long. Then he switched to a 3 partway through the game to help see it out when the tide was starting to change a little bit and Villa was starting to, have a little bit of pressure and stuff. And then obviously against Palace, after the shocking first half, he switched things up. Madueke went off and Nkunku came on. Palmer was put out to the right-hand side where he could influence the game a lot more. And that proved to be kind of a crucial switch. Yeah, it might seem obvious, but it's something that's been lacking from Poch in a lot of times this season. Instead of being proactive, he's more often than not reactive. So it's nice to see that actually in the last couple of games, he has been proactive, but we do need to see more of that. Like, I don't think that, Chelsea are out of the woods just because we won 2 games on the spin. We should have been beating Palace anyway. I know like a win's a win, you got to enjoy it, but this was a Palace side that was poor, and their 3 best players and their 2 main attacking threats missing. So we're by no means out of the woods. And I don't think necessarily in the last 2 games we've really learned anything new about this Chelsea team. But I mean, one player in particular, Cole Palmer, is going to be returning to Man City for the first time since he left. He's got an exceptional season for us. I think he leads he's got 21 GNA across all comps of Chelsea this season, comfortably are the highest numbers within the squad. I think Sterling's next with 12. Often though, when you return to your former club, yes, he's going to be bang up for it. Sometimes, maybe you can try a little bit too hard and you can maybe overdo it and perhaps not have an effective game. But I mean, how do you see his return to City going? They're obviously going to know him so well. He's got the last minute penalty, the winner, so the equaliser at the Bridge. Realistically, it's got to be, if he's not really having a good game or he's marked out the game or whatever it is, then our chances pretty much, I don't want to say they go to 0, but they dramatically decrease. I mean, how big an occasion is this going to be for Cole? Because yeah, it's always a tough return into your former club, particularly first time of asking and considering how good Man City are as well.
Yeah, massive, definitely massive. I hope it adds to his game, but Palmer's one of those players where he makes his football look so effortless, and you almost don't see too much emotion, do you, with Palmer in terms of the way he plays? Even the way he celebrates his goals, it's like, yeah, I know I can do that. I can do that. What's the big deal? And I love that about him. You saw the composure he had for the equalising penalty at Stamford Bridge, which is obviously to take a penalty where it's almost decisive whether you walk away with nothing or a point in a game that frustrates your opponent is a big deal. And he's still young, but I think his reception will be good. I don't think there's any sort of sour kind of feelings among the fans of Cole Palmer. I think Pep rates him really highly. It's not a case of Palmer leaving City because he was hated or he was seen as not good enough. It was just a case of there was a lot to choose from. Man City have a lot of depth. There's a lot of competition in those positions, and Palmer saw himself as good enough to be able to play at a high level, play first team football, be a regular starter. So you got to admire the fact that he backed himself to do that, and clearly he's delivering. So yeah, I think the reception will be good. I think hopefully, I mean, if he scores, obviously they won't be over the moon, but Palmer's a crucial he was a crucial player for Man City in the few games he did play. He scored in finals. He can be and has proven to be a game changer. So I truly think that he is someone that you can rely on to change the game for you. So if it means capitalizing on a chance that Man City might give us, I do see him scoring, definitely. But yeah, I think he'll be truly up for it, because what a better way to prove to a Man City side that let you go because potentially you couldn't have had a place here, and you punishing them. But no,
definitely. I mean, as I said, he's crucial to what we do. So hopefully, he has a good game. Hopefully, he's not playing down the middle as a false start, because it just doesn't work from it. Massively limits him. It effectively I don't want to say it completely removes him from the game, but for me, it probably 60-70% removes him from the game. You don't get anywhere near as much from him or as much influence over the game when he plays down the middle. So yeah, there are some interesting tactical things that Pochettino is going to have to think about in terms of setup and personnel. Again, for the players though, I mean, it's the last time in terms of a game situation before the Carabao Cup final. So there's that motivation you're playing for places in the final. I mean, how much of a difference do you think that could make to the performance that we might get? Because this is the last chance, really. Obviously, you've got training in the week and stuff, but in terms of an in-game situation, this is the last opportunity for players to stake their claim for a place in the final. I know, like, some of the players are guaranteed to start in terms of, you know, your Enzos, Caicedos, etc., etc. But there are opportunities for perhaps a few 50-50 decisions, maybe particularly in the three behind the striker. You know, there's options there for players to sort of prove their worth.
Yeah, no, 100%. And there's players in our squad that haven't had a sniff at playing in a final. You know, they're going to want that. They're going to want to experience that. You never know where the next final for Chelsea is coming from as well. So that's also a big deal. But, you know, we're playing Liverpool. We're going to need to be obviously, and I know that's obviously next week, but we're going to really need to be in that game mentally as well. But yeah, you're right. They're going to want to fight spaces. I mean, Pochettino hasn't necessarily shown that players that have good games get rewarded with the next game start. Sometimes they're often a super sub or they come off the bench or we see some rotation. But something that he does is not generally reward players with that. You could argue that maybe he did when he didn't start Sterling against Palace, because we thought, well, at least I thought that he'd be straight back in there. But, you know, someone like Sterling for me will start. He will start the next couple games because, you know, who better than someone that won titles with Man City before, that knows that maybe you could argue the ins and outs of the teams and has played under Pep. But I think Poch really sees Raheem Sterling as someone that brings experience, and whether he doesn't always show it, for Poch, it doesn't seem like it's too big of a deal because he still gets the numbers somehow. Like you said, he's the second highest scorer or whatever, like G&A contributor. So yeah, I definitely think some players already have a promised start in that final. Others will have to work for it, no doubt. But yeah, I guess it will be a case of seeing who stands out. Defo.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, it should always be on merit, and Poch just self has said he picks on meritocracy. I'm actually glad in the last couple of games that he's actually kind of stuck to his word, and Sterling is not starting because he doesn't deserve to start. He doesn't impact games enough. He's not doing enough. You know, a couple of reports saying that Chelsea may be looking to move him on potentially in the summer. I think that's the right thing to do. I personally don't feel the hunger's there. You know, he's got the big contracts he wanted. I feel he's kind of just winding down and going through emotions for me. So if we can get rid of him, then I'd be all for it. But when you're on 325 grand a week, no one else is offering him those wages. So, you know, if he's going to leave, it has to be, you know, he has to take a pay cut. And we're going to have to accept that we're not going to get anywhere near the £50 million that we spent on him. So you're not going to make a profit on him. So, yeah, look, for me, Sterling, I don't see him starting on Saturday personally.
You don't?
No, not on Saturday against City. No.
Really?
I know Madueke had a poor game against.
But Sterling's best game this season was against Man City.
Yeah, but that was at Stamford Bridge, though. He doesn't tend to do that. I mean, for me, look, Madueke had a poor game against Palace. Probably not a great time to have a poor game when you're sort of, you know, when you've got a bit of a run in the side with crucial games coming up.
Do you back him to take on City's fullbacks?
No, but I'd rather have it. I'd be happy to play Nkunku down that left-hand side. Like or leave Jackson there. You know, we don't need Sterling. Those two options for me are much better and are going to give us a lot more.
I'd agree. Yeah.
But look, hopefully he doesn't, because every time I see Sterling on the team sheet, just a little part of me dies inside. I just can't stand him. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but it's just like he just doesn't bring anything to the team. He's not bringing anything to the table, and so, you know, it's hard to back someone and you know, want someone to play who isn't bringing anything to the table. And you want them in these big moments, and yet when he gets an opportunity in the big moments, he doesn't do anything. So yeah, for me, a Chelsea team without Sterling is a much better, you know, it's a much better team, and we function a lot better. The front three looks a lot better. We look a lot more dangerous as well. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens on that one. But in terms of wingers, though, obviously, it's strange because we've got so many players, obviously, of the same age. A lot of players, you know, there's a strong competition for places across the front line. Mikhailo Mudryk, what's going on with him? Because, he obviously come in for £62.5 million. We spent big money on him. There's a lot of potential there. He's raw. He needs coaching. Football IQ is perhaps not all there. But when he was getting a run in the side around Christmas time and before Christmas, he was doing well. He was getting G&A. He was contributing to the team. He was looking dangerous, looking a good outlook, good range of passings, and all this stuff. And then for whatever reason, he suddenly found himself out of the team, and now he's struggling to get back in. He's struggling to even get any minutes. And I just look at it and I just think, well, what is the plan? Madueke's had a few more opportunities recently, but there was a large parts of it earlier in the season where he was barely getting a look in either. I mean, what do you think the plan is? And Mudryk specifically, like, these guys aren't going to get any better. And it's not just him, Chukwuemeka as well. I know he's been injured, but he's been an unused sub for the last 2 games as well. Like, I know we've got options on this competition for places, but what are actually the plans of these guys? Because I'm starting to look at it. I'm just thinking, we just signed these guys so that other people couldn't have them. Like, what is the genuine plan here to develop these players? Because I'm a little bit lost.
Yeah, no, it does appear that way. And upon reflection, it kind of almost makes you think, was maybe a loan move more suited to someone like Mudryk, because we don't use him. He won't get a sniff of starting 11, I don't think, under Poch anytime soon. And I think, and I almost kind of believe that Poch doesn't trust him anymore. And I think even though he had those few games where he was very, a good impact, and he did, like you say, score and get involved, I also think that he's too inconsistent to be trusted. And because I keep saying that Chelsea right now can't afford to take that many risks in terms of, we already don't really know, we haven't figured ourselves out, and it's almost too much to add in other like kind of risk factors into that equation and try something that you don't really know works, like sustainably game in, game out. And I'm starting to think that maybe Poch sees it in training, or rather doesn't see it in training, and maybe Mudryk just doesn't have that quality there, or it's too inconsistent. I think no doubt he's a good footballer. He's definitely got ability, technicality there, but he almost acts quicker than he thinks, or the other way around. When a player does something more rash than as opposed to like thinking it through. And because he's so quick as well, you almost think, wow, you've used your pace, you've beaten your man, you've taken it up until the very end, but then what's the next decision that follows after? And I think that's what lacking with Mudryk, because 9 out of 10 times he'll do that. He'll impress you with a really quick run because he's rapid, but then that sort of final decision when it comes to making a pass, releasing the ball, linking up with a certain player, doesn't quite cut it. And I think there's too much of that for Pochettino to really trust him.
I just think, like, for me, obviously the only way these guys are going to improve is by getting opportunities to play. And unless there's like, he's not training well, which I don't think that's the case, because he comes across as a very hard worker. He's always doing extra stuff and whatever and whatnot. So I don't believe that's the case. I don't know what the reasons are for why he's not playing, but these guys are not going to get any better unless they get some opportunity, unless they get to play. And I just don't really understand it. Like, it's the subs in the last couple of games. Like, why was Sterling coming on at Villa? Why was he coming on at Palace? Like, surely those minutes would have been more beneficial to Mudryk, because you've invested this money in this player and you want him to be part of your future going forwards and the success, and yet you just don't use him. So yeah, it is a strange one. I think this is just basically, unfortunately, one of the pitfalls of the recruitment process that we've gone down, is when you accumulate so many players all of the same age and a young age profile, is that they're all going to take the minutes off each other that they need to develop, and some are going to develop quicker than others and reach their potential quicker, and others are just going to stagnate and probably have to be sold on. And because they've not played much, you're not going to get a return on investment like you probably wanted to get. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I still believe in Mudryk. There are opportunities there, but ultimately for me, if he doesn't play that much between now and the end of the season, I actually think next season he needs to go on loan. And I think, I've said it before, for me, whether they leave permanently or on loan, I don't think Mudryk and Madueke will both be at Chelsea next season. I think one of them will go, whether it's loan or permanent. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens on that. But in terms of the game itself, I mean, everything's gonna have to be right. The last time we had a big away game, we went to Liverpool, we collectively shit ourselves and we were horrendous. One of the worst performances of the season. I think arguably worst performance of the season, one of the worst performances just in general over the last couple of years. We didn't turn up. Most important thing for me is there's no shame in losing away at Man City. We know they're a miles better team than us. But for me, we need to turn up and we need to compete and we need to apply ourselves, and we need to show good fight, good courage. And you know what? If we give a good showing of ourselves and we come up short, maybe we lose 2 or 3-1, but we gave it our best and we competed, and there are things to be positive about, and we just lost out to the better team. You can kind of accept that. But I mean, do you worry that we might just not turn up? Because generally speaking, against the last time we went away at Liverpool, we didn't turn up, and City is going to be tough as well. I mean, I think you can find out whether in the first 5 or 10 minutes what sort of the day is going to be like for us.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's an intimidating ground to go to as well, and it's difficult. Like, these players don't have the experience of going away to difficult grounds as well. Like, that's something we need to consider. Anfield, of course, for any team, the best teams in the world struggle there, but for a team that's so young and is learning, it must be that extra bit difficult. So I do worry. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can kind of think is they'll give you a game, they'll give you the space, and we always say we work better with that. It gives us more width. It gives us better chances to create and be a little bit more threatening as well. But I do worry, and I think I mostly worry about our fullbacks as well, how they deal with City's wingers, whoever they choose to unleash. I worry because Chilwell isn't the quickest anymore either. He isn't, and that's the truth. I'm happy that we have 2 fullbacks available, but you do have to put to question how they can cope. I didn't have issues. I think Malo Gusto was brilliant when he played Arsenal when they came to Stamford Bridge that time.
The one time he switched off at the back post for the equaliser, but
Trossard's goal, that's the one.
But Gusto, I think, has been brilliant. Look, the fullbacks are good. Going forward, I don't have any issues with them. Just defensively, I just think they're a little bit not quite there. Obviously, Gusto can develop that side of his game. I just think Chile, I like him. I think he's a good player. But again, defensively is where he does need to improve.
Do you think he's coming, like, from here on? Do you think Chilwell's going to be on a decline, or do you think that we can still?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. What is he? 25, 26?
Yeah.
Yes, you come back from a major injury like that. It takes a long time to get back up to speed. He's only been back a few games.
Yeah, it's not
exactly like he's only been back a few games. So, no, I don't think he's on the decline. But yeah, look, obviously the likes of, whether it's Bernardo Silva, Doku, Foden, whoever it is,
there's a lot of pace in them legs.
There's a lot of creativity, a lot of pace, and a lot of problems that are going to be caused. And full well that you're not going to keep players of that quality quiet for a full 90 minutes. So it's just about trying to limit their impact. De Bruyne is just a joke. Rodri in the midfield is ridiculous. Like, there's quality all over the pitch.
Was it Cucurella playing at home against City? Did he play in that game?
Yeah, he did, because they gave that penalty on Haaland, which was ridiculous. So yeah, look, it's gonna be tough. There's no denying it. I mean, if we're gonna have a chance of getting something positive, results wise, we're gonna have to be so efficient in our finishing. We will get chances, but there won't be that many, so you're going to have to take them, which is not always the case for us. And we're going to have to make sure that we're absolutely on it defensively. No stupid mistakes, no giving the ball away in dangerous areas like we tend to do quite a lot of the time. No giving the ball away in midfield, getting caught high up the pitch or anything like that. Look, if a team, plays through us or just does an exceptional bit of play, there's nothing we can do about it. You sort of hold your hands up, but we can't be giving away any gifts or any freebies like we do tend to do in quite a lot of games. I mean, how do you expect us to approach this one tactically? I mean, if I get sort of a little lineup up on the screen, for me personally, I think most of this team picks itself. I mean, let's presume Silva isn't fit. Even if he was fit, do you think this is a game for him? Because no. I be honest, I really don't think it is.
No. There's that, like you just said, the players you mentioned, there's too much pace, there's too much threat. You need young legs up against them, and I don't think Thiago Silva will quite manage with that.
So it leaves us only 2 options then. It literally leaves Disasi, who's actually done really well this season. Fair play to him.
And you could argue Disasi at least has height, because you got to think they're going to be dangerous on corners. They're going to be dangerous on set pieces. You can't be leaving someone like Haaland in a box unattended. And if I have to look at that back line, I think obviously among those two there is height, but someone like Disasi probably has a better chance at, marking someone like Haaland.
Yeah, I mean, Haaland just bullies anyone. They just shrugs people off for fun. So if that happens, it happens. But I think that for me is what the best back line would be. Even if Silva's there, I just don't think this is a game for him. He just hasn't got the legs. Like the head works, and the head works. He's got the football brain, but the legs aren't really there at the moment, and that's to be expected with the age he's at. This is absolutely crucial in midfield, right? That Enzo and Caicedo are playing close together.
Yeah,
because if we leave the gaps that we leave in midfield, like we did in the first half against Palace, like we did against Liverpool, like at times against Wolves, if Caicedo's left to basically be a one-man midfield against a quality City have got, forget it. Don't bother coming out. Don't bother coming out for the second half. That tactical setup has got to be spot on. Those two pick themselves. They've been playing reasonably well recently. Enzo adding goals to his game as well, 2 in his last 2. This is where it gets interesting because obviously, like Gallagher's going to play, and I think, do you know what? Based on his last 2 performances, he actually deserves to play anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, is Gallagher, Cole Palmer, and I actually think, and you can tell me differently. I actually think Nkunku would be better off the left-hand side rather than up front because I just think when he came on at half-time against Palace. Like, he just looks so isolated up there. Obviously, we're still learning how to play with him. He's still getting used to us. And I don't think we found the sort of the way of playing to get the best out of him. But he played a lot off the left-hand side in pre-season. And, you know, it can be flexible, that front line, knowing Kun can go up front for minutes if he wants, and then Jackson can switch to the left. Like, doesn't have to be rigid like that. But I think it's about time Nkunku started a game. And I think Jackson up top could maybe, you know, cause a few problems potentially. But is that the 4 that you would go with, depending on what order they're in there? I mean, we know Mudrik's not going to start. Sterling, we've already talked about. I mean, Chukwuemeka, there's just not a space for him at this point in time in the starting 11. And then that's kind of it, really.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that, and I actually think Nkunku and Palmer on both flanks, they balance us out moving forwards quite a bit because they both, I'd say, are best technical players in terms of technical ability. I'd say them 2 are probably the best. And then you've got an actual out-and-out number 9 there. So you've got 2 that can actually create, potentially break through, and hopefully if Jackson's actually having a good day, he can actually finish some of those chances. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Pochettino's going to go with our favoured lineup.
I don't know. I mean, how much could be different, really?
I honestly tell you, 97% Raheem Sterling starts on Saturday.
I'll be raging if he gets to 4:30 Saturday and Raheem Sterling's in the lineup. I'm not going to be happy about that. But that's really the only change potentially. Like,
yeah, that'd be the only change.
That, I mean, if Silva's fit, I actually think he plays Silva, but I don't think Silva should play in this game. But realistically, if Silva's out, then the only other option is whether you play Sterling or not, and that shouldn't really be a difficult decision. So I think, regardless of like what we think, the team does pretty much pick itself. So yeah, that's the line we go with. Obviously, let us know your thoughts in the comments below if you agree or disagree with that. Score prediction. I think there's going to be goals in this game. City will definitely score. I think we can score 1. City give up chances, as we've said, but depends how clinical we're feeling in front of goal. To be honest, I think we'll lose 3-1. How are you seeing it?
I think we'll lose. I want to say we score because, like we've said, you know, Man City can give you chances, but you have to also be able to score them. So that's on us. That really is on us. 3-1 sounds about right. I probably would have. I know this sounds really bad on us. I probably would have gone higher, but I'm not going to because I don't want to. I think 3-1 sounds fair. I think I'm going to go 3-1, just like you are. I'm not going to go for a Liverpool scoreline because I don't want another 4-1.
No, we can't have another heavy defeat like that. I mean, to be fair, I said 3-1 last time against Palace, and that was the right decision. So maybe you go 3-1 this time.
Okay.
I mean, I can't see us being involved in 3-1 games in a row. But you never know. But yeah, I'll be honest. I don't really see how any Chelsea.
It could be as simple as a 3-0 Man City.
It could be. I mean, I don't see how any Chelsea fans can really confidently say that we're going to win this game. I just can't see it. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Maybe we'll get a penalty and it'll be
3-1. Maybe. I mean, you do never know in football, but yeah, I think we've got to be brutally honest and realistic about this. And the chances are where the 2 teams are at, I just don't see us getting. I just don't see it happening. But Let us know your score predictions in the comments below as well. As always, let us know your thoughts on anything that's been discussed in the preview. Nina, thanks for your time as always. Greatly appreciated. If people don't know where you're at, where should they go?
Yeah, Nina's Chelsea Corner. Please, guys, get me to 4K. I am not far off, but subscribe is massively appreciated. If you watch the videos, like them, comment, anything like that really helps me out. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, make sure you do that. We tagged on the title. If you're not subscribed to Nina, make sure you do go and do that. Please help me get to 8K, guys. It's not many left now to go either, so make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. Get your friends to do it, whatever you need to do. Smash the like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. We'll catch you again in another one soon. Up the shelves.